Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into a really fascinating, kind of radical idea, one that totally flips the script on how we think about good and evil. It argues they aren't opposites at all, but operate on completely different principles.
We usually think of good and evil as, well, opposites, right? Like two sides of the same coin. There's a moral spectrum, and you can move toward the good end and away from the evil end. It seems pretty simple, pretty symmetrical.
But what if that whole idea is wrong? What if they aren't equals at all? This is where things get really interesting, because the philosophy we're looking at today says there's this huge, fundamental asymmetry between them. They don't play by the same rules.
So let's start with evil. Now, according to this way of thinking, the defining thing about evil isn't necessarily malice or anything like that. It's endlessness. The fact that it can always pile up.
What does that mean? It means evil is all about numbers, about quantity. Think about it. Any amount of evil, no matter how tiny, makes a situation evil. And the scary part, you can always add more. No matter how bad things get, they can always get worse. There's no such thing as a final, absolute state of evil.
And this quote really nails it, doesn't it? Evil operates entirely in the world of quantity. You can measure it, you can add to it, it just keeps accumulating. It exists in our world as a thing of degrees. A bad situation can become a terrible situation, which can become a catastrophe.
All right, so if that's evil, what about good? Well, this is where the picture gets completely different. I mean, totally abstract. If evil is all about adding things up, good is the exact opposite.
Here's the real kicker. For something to be truly conceptually good, it has to be absolutely pure. We're not talking mostly good or 99% good. Nope, even the teeniest speck of evil ruins the whole thing. It's an all-or-nothing deal.
So how much evil is allowed for something to still be called good? Exactly this. Zero. Nada. Any contamination, and it's out. Good has to be perfect, which means it exists completely outside the world of measurement that defines evil.
So where does that leave us? Well, it leads to a pretty wild and, honestly, kind of unsettling idea. If evil is measured in degrees and good has to be absolute, that means our entire reality, everything we experience, is just varying degrees of evil. We never actually encounter pure good.
Okay, so that's a huge question, right? If pure good is impossible to ever find or achieve in the real world, then what's the point? Why do we even have a word for it?
Well, its purpose isn't to be a place you can get to. It's the thing that makes you want to move in the first place. Think of it like a cosmic North Star. It's the ultimate guiding light that gives direction to all our hopes, our goals, our desire to be better.
And this is the perfect way to think about it. The horizon. I mean, you can walk towards the horizon your entire life, but you'll never ever reach it. But does that make it useless? Of course not. The horizon is what gives you a direction to walk in. Good, in this philosophy, isn't a destination. It's an abstract law that orients our entire life.
But get this idea of an unreachable horizon, it's not just a nice metaphor. The argument here is that it's literally built into the fabric of our own minds.
Just try this for a second. Try to really imagine your own non-existence. You can't do it, can you? The very act of you trying to imagine it proves that your mind is there, working. That impossible-to-reach boundary, that's what this philosophy calls the mind's projective horizon. And the argument is that this abstract idea of pure good, it lives in that exact same mental space.
It's almost like an off switch for your brain, an auto shutdown button that you can never, ever press. Good is located right there at the very edge of what's possible for our minds to even think about.
So, you see what's happened here? In this totally new perspective, good isn't really a moral thing anymore. It becomes tied to the very fact of being. Good is that struggle of your own consciousness pushing up against the impossible idea of its own end. And that struggle, that's what drives us forward.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together for a second and just think about what this radical idea actually means for us, in our actual lives.
So, to wrap it up, we've explored this really powerful idea that evil is the stuff we can measure, the stuff of our everyday world. It's cumulative. But good? That's something else entirely. It's an absolute, pure, and totally abstract concept. We don't achieve it, we use it as a guiding horizon, a direction that's connected to the fundamental limits of our own consciousness.
And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on.
If pure good is the horizon, if it's the direction and not the destination, then what does that say about all the things we chase every single day? A good job, a good life. Are these things we can actually get? Or are they just little signposts on a journey toward a horizon that we can never, ever reach?